Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. This is the 4,000 mile review. So far, 4,000 miles in the 1 month of ownership, and it's been amazing. Like, I can't even imagine what it'd been like if I got the performance version. The long range all-wheel drive has been pretty awesome. For those of you that don't know, this is the RAXTIFY Satin Chrome AMG Gray. This color was one that I saw immediately and I knew I loved. The wrap was done by Cobra Wraps here in Washington State. There's quite a bit of trunk space. Coming from a Subaru Forester, I thought I would miss the SUV, but this has actually been very practical, and plus you have the under trunk storage as well. It's definitely different doing EV videos versus a gas car, because with a gas car you could do exhaust videos, startups, and flybys and things like that, versus this doesn't really make any noise, so you can't really do those things. So charging at 80% with the 18-inch setup, it was about 273 miles is what it predicted. Now with the 19-inch setup, it dropped it down to 260, so 13-mile difference is what it's predicting, but I haven't taken it on a long trip to see how accurate that is. If you are thinking of getting a Model 3 versus a Y, there is plenty of headroom for a dog to be in the back in the 3, but if you definitely want the more practicality of having the hatch, then I would definitely go with the Y. So far, not a problem with the 3. I just want to get a better pet cover for the rear seat, if not like a whole rear seat cover, and then put the dog bed over on top of it, just so the hair is even more contained. If you're getting your Model 3 tinted, make sure you check and make sure they do the rear window completely. The place that did my window, they didn't talk about it, and I wish I did discuss it, but yeah, they did the partials, so that's definitely going to be on my list to fix, because in the car it drives me nuts. Outside you don't notice it. I will say one of the best things you can do, and it's free, adjust the headlights, raise them up a little bit. I live kind of out in the middle of nowhere where there's no street lights in a lot of places, so raising the headlights up definitely helped out quite a bit. One thing a lot of people don't talk about is how fun this thing is to drive. The steering wheel is very sharp, it's very direct, and it's immediate. It reminds me of a lot of an Evo, especially like an Evo 8, like it's very just like sharp. And I will say the automatic high beams, they can be annoying sometimes, so I turn them off, especially if you're like behind a car that's like 5 or 6 cars in front of you and the high beams are kicking on just because they think they need to be on. I don't want people to think I'm flashing them, so I'll kick them off. I wish that the wipers would kick on as fast as the automatic high beams like to kick on. Sometimes I feel like you're driving for quite a ways, you'll have to hit the white button before the wipers will kick on. At 80%, my car used to be at 273 miles of range, and now with the 19s, it's dropped down to 260. Unless you are taking on a really long trip and you need every single ounce of your range, then I don't have any complaints with it. Hurdle from going from a gas car to EV is just learning like what the limits are, because you don't have like a real reference, like a engine sound. You just have to look at the speed and how fast you're going into a corner. I will say the handling on this is really good, actually, for not being the performance model. I find myself backing off before the car feels like it's at a limit, so it's actually pretty impressive for being stock. It definitely shocks me with how quick this car accelerates, and that anybody can like buy this car. And this is not even like the fastest EV either. Like, I can't even imagine what the Model S Plaid even feels like, or like a Lucid Air Sapphire or Porsche Taycan GT. For my little entry-level Model 3, I'm definitely happy with it. It's very fun to drive. I like short bursts of speed, and that's one thing that's really cool with the EV, is you can do that without really catching any attention from anybody. And then the one pedal regenerative braking is pretty cool to get adjusted to when you're going to some corners spirited. Right now I'm just letting the one pedal driving slow me down. There, I'm using the brake, off the brake, back on the throttle. This is the wipers on auto. You can see how much mist is on the screen still, and it hasn't picked it up and wiped it off yet. Definitely love the pet buckle because it keeps my dog nice and secure with all the torque that's available with this car. I do 99% of my charging at home. I have like a 120-mile round trip commute for work, so it's plenty of range for me to charge at home and get to work and get back and this charge, plug in at night. When I first got this, I was plugging in right away, like as soon as I got home. Now I just plug in before I go to bed and wake up and the car's charged.